Even yet, do men know all. Each explorer, each pioneer, pushing a few miles farther into its vastness. New tales, new conceptions of Canada. Then came the railways, rolling back the frontiers before them, drawing behind them settlement, industry, and Canada was not only a great land, but became a great nation with its seat of government in Ottawa. The Peace Tower of the Houses of Parliament is a symbol of Canada's strong faith in herself. The Mounties, an embodiment of Canadian respect for the law. And within the Peace Tower, the Memorial Chamber and Book of Remembrance, like the National War Memorial nearby, pay tribute to her warrior dead. Ottawa is a city of many fine buildings. Rideau Hall, the residence of the King's representative, embassies and consulates, and the Chateau Laurier, one of the world's most distinguished hotels. What kind of country is governed from Ottawa? That depends on the eyes you put on it. Let's hear what a couple of casual visitors from San Francisco have to say about it.
We came to St. John's, Newfoundland on business, and we liked what we saw there. And so we decided to go back home across Canada.
We'd been across the state several times, but we'd never seen Canada. Besides, we found it cost no more to go that way.
Our train took us in a wide loop right across Newfoundland, and on the way we passed Gander, which has become a great airport. We had long enough to stop at Corner Brook to get a good look at the pulp and paper mill there. During the night, we sailed across the Cabot Straits to the mainland. By morning, we were in Sydney on Cape Breton Island. This interested me, especially the size of the coal and steel industry.
What I liked best was the boat trip along the Bras-d'Or Lake. At Quebec, we saw the summer home of Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the boat. He was brought up in Canada. With a friend I met on the boat, I went up on a beautiful hill just back of the house where he and his wife are buried.
The hills of Cape Breton reminded me of the Highlands of Scotland. I'm not surprised to see so many Scotsmen live there. Down there, they have a fine national park which you can reach by railway or by the Cabot Trail, which is named after one of the early explorers. This trail has become quite popular with hikers.
From Cape Breton, we crossed to the mainland of Nova Scotia and visited Pictou Lodge, a popular summer resort. Then we went on to Halifax, where we stayed at the Nova Scotian Hotel. It's a fascinating old seaport and a real sailor town.
After Nova Scotia, we went over to Prince Edward Island on the Abiguite, a huge train and automobile ferry, which they tell me is also the largest icebreaker in the world.
Our room at the Charlottetown Hotel was wonderful.
We saw the Parliament buildings where the Fathers of Confederation first met to plan the formation of the Dominion of Canada.
When I was a girl, I read Anne of Green Gables. I had no idea it was a real place. It was wonderful, and it has a fine golf course beside it. All around the island are the most beautiful sand beaches I've ever seen. Someday, I want to go back and spend a whole vacation in Prince Edward Island. Unfortunately, I couldn't this time because we had an appointment in St. John, New Brunswick.
However, that gave us a chance to look around and see more of New Brunswick. At Moncton, we tried out the magnetic hill, an amazing optical illusion where cars and bicycles seem to be running uphill when actually they're running down. We saw the famous bore, too, a tidal wave that rolls up the Petitcodiac River twice a day. Later that day, we started off for Quebec. Quebec is the only province we had visited before, but for my money, it's a swell place. You never get tired of it.
I love the contrasts of Quebec, the little wayside crosses and big shrines like St. Anne de Beaupré. Historic sites like the Plains of Abraham and the walls of the old city of Quebec, the calèches and oh, so many things.
It's odd to leave a city like Quebec and in a few hours find yourself rolling across Victoria Bridge into a great cosmopolitan place like Montreal.
hotels and the restaurants in Montreal are wonderful, and the Central Station is the most attractive railway depot I've ever seen.
Although Montreal is an up-and-coming city, they've had the good sense to mark historic sites and let people see things, like the first outdoor clock in North America, even if it can't run anymore. After we left Montreal, we went to Toronto, which is also a fine city and has lots of things worth seeing. While in Toronto, we made a couple of side trips. Went over for a look at Niagara Falls. And we were up at Midland, where they are building the kind of longhouse the Huron Indians lived in before they were wiped out by the Iroquois 300 years ago. Then it was time to push on, and we spent the next day on our train rolling through the woods of northern Ontario. The following morning, the trees had thinned out, and the prairies were beginning to open up. When we pulled into Winnipeg, Manitoba, we went across to the Fort Garry Hotel.
Winnipeg was delightful with its modern buildings and wide streets. You'd never think that this city was just a trading post less than 100 years ago.
I had some business to attend to in Regina, so I went there first. Afterwards, we moved over to Saskatoon, in the heart of Saskatchewan.
We stayed at the Besborough Hotel, and it's a beauty.
Our next stop was Edmonton. We put up at the McDonald Hotel. We went out to have a look at the big new oil fields at Leduc. No sooner had we left Edmonton than the prairies began to disappear. In no time at all, we were in the foothills, and after them came the Canadian Rockies, which were grander than anything I'd imagined. Right after lunch, we pulled into Jasper.
We simply love the setting and the informality of Jasper Park Lodge. just couldn't resist staying 4 days in Jasper. Even in that time, we couldn't see it all, but we did get to Mount Edith Cavell and down to the Columbia ice field.
We left Jasper on Tuesday, and just over the Great Divide, our train stopped at Mount Robson. That's a man's idea of what a mountain ought to look like. We could look over and see the other side of the Canadian National running to Prince Rupert, but we followed along the Thompson and Fraser Rivers to Vancouver. We saw just enough of Vancouver to know that we'll have to come back.
The old world charm of Victoria was our last impression of Canada.
Although we'd been in Canada for less than 3 weeks, we still feel it was the best trip of our lives.
2 visitors in a hurry.